Welcome to Empowered Heart to Heart, where you'll hear messages of hope, conversations that heal, and interviews that empower. Well, hey, this is Coach Rhonda, and I just wanted to hop on here real quick with a word of encouragement. I went to sleep last night with a thought on my mind that I could not shake, and I woke up with the same thought again. And that thought is simply anyway. Yes, anyway. You know, so many times we are waiting for things to happen before we bust a move. We are waiting for anything really to transpire so that we can then say we're going to our next level. I get that. I'm all right with precaution at times, but then there comes a point in my faith where I just have to do it anyway. It's so important that we understand that, because many times we'll just freeze and not accomplish anything because we're waiting on something or someone to happen before we can do anything. Or we're waiting until we reach a certain plateau when things will be just right. Now that sets the stage. Well, I don't know about you, but I want to prove myself faithful to God, even in the days of small things, even in the beginnings, even when people don't show up, even when nothing is happening. I want to do it anyway. And so that's why I'm making this recording. I don't know who's going to be listening. I don't know who's going to be watching the video. I have no idea, but I'm doing it anyway, because the scripture lets us know in Romans chapter 4 that God calls those things that are not as though they were. And then I started thinking about all the people, especially in the New Testament, where Jesus asked them something that seemed to be so impossible. For example, Jesus goes to the tomb of a dead man named Lazarus and calls him forth from the dead as if he were alive and just in there hanging out. Guess what? He came back to life anyway. He asked another person who had a withered hand and couldn't move it to stretch forth your hand. And guess what? He did it anyway. He asked a woman who was bowed over and couldn't even stand up straight to stand up straight. And she did it anyway. And so it's time now for us to bust a move. It's time now to stop waiting. If you know that what is in your heart to do is put there by God, and God has commissioned you to do it so that it'll bless somebody else, do it anyway. Act like the church house is full. Act like your membership site is full of hundreds, if not thousands of members, and do it anyway. If we're not careful, we'll allow what we see with our eyes to discourage us to the point of inactivity. But God is saying, do it anyway. I encourage you, whatever it is, start. Yes, start. Do it anyway. I want to encourage your heart today that there's nothing too hard for God, and you'll never know what God will do until you do it anyway. You never know how God will manifest his promise in your life until you start making moves in that direction. I'll leave you with this scripture. Hebrews 11:1 says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." So until the next time, be blessed, be encouraged, but most of all, be empowered.